What's up, everybody? Welcome to Moose Milk Podcast, episode 41. I'm your host, Ryan, and again, this week, we're doing it solo. Just me. Matt's still on vacation, so yeah, no Matt this week, just me. He'll be back next week, and we'll cover a lot of things. While he was on vacation, I'm sure he had some downtime, so I'm sure he's watched a lot, but yeah, this week, just me. I don't like doing these solo. I find it really kind of awkward, but it's all right. I hope everybody's doing well out there, and I've had a few whiskey drinks, so, I'm feeling good. This week, I'm going to be doing my top 10 video games with a few honorable mentions. We tried to do this episode, I don't know, right near the beginning, probably episode 5 or 6. And went for like 5 hours with a bunch of my friends outside of Matt, and we had no audio. We recorded the whole thing, not live, and no audio. So this is kind of my redo of that. It can be obviously a lot shorter, just me doing it, but yeah, hopefully some people enjoy that. Some people in our follower group is hopefully gamers. But first, dive into what I've been watching this week. And I streamed and watched the entirety of Ted Lasso, the Apple Plus show. There's 2 seasons. I think the first season came out last year, the year before, and the second season just ended, I'm pretty sure, this summer. Jason Sudeikis is like the main character of the show. And it's really, really good. Really, really solid show. I know people probably have already seen all the hype around this show. I was hesitant to jump into the show. I just thought, like, oh, it's super, super hyped, so I'm going to be kind of let down by it. But no, it meets its expectations. It's a really, really funny, positive show. Basically, the premise of the show, if you're not familiar, is basically American football coach, American football, gets basically a job in England as a soccer coach, and he doesn't know anything about soccer, but he's like a really quirky, positive, very talkative dude. Basically, he's known for his like team building abilities, basically, and he takes over this soccer team in England, and basically it builds from there. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but that's like basic premise. Really, really good. Like fish out of water, but kind of quirky, has some positive messages within it. And I just really enjoyed it. I've watched like 22 episodes or 20 episodes or whatever the hell it is in the span of like 3 or 4 days. So really, really recommend it. Really, really good. Something to check out. Obviously, it sucks that it's on Apple Plus because I don't think many people are Apple Plus subscribers. I don't think it's worth subscribing to Apple Plus unless you do it for like a month and you just like binge the 2 or 3 shows that it has. But yeah. Other than that, tonight I went and seen the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die. Really good, really solid, really long. That was my downside on it. Almost 3 hours long, so a little too long for my liking. But overall, pretty solid. Fun action flick. If you're into the Bond movies, you're not going to be disappointed by it. Like, it has some great scenes. Bummer that it's Daniel Craig's last movie as Bond. I don't know where they're going to go with it from here. But I really enjoyed it. I think it's worth checking out. I still think Casino Royale and probably Skyfall are my favorite Craig movies of the Bond series. But yeah, this would be like probably 3rd or 4th, somewhere in there. Not discrediting it in any way. It felt long though. In the middle, it kind of has like some slow moments. So, but other than that, really weird to be back in theaters with no restrictions. I mean, we have a vaccine passport, but no seating requirements or anything like that. So people were sitting directly next to me for the first time in, I don't know, 2 years. That's kind of weird. But I'm glad everybody has to be vaccinated to be in the theater. So wasn't like nervous about it. It just felt weird that people were close to me again after, a year and a half of not having that. So yeah, other than that, obviously still watching my typical reality shows. American Survivor has been pretty solid. Still watching The Challenge. Still watching The Block, which is the Australian reality show. Really solid. What We Do in the Shadows still going on. Really, really funny season. Definitely highly recommend that. Also been listening to the podcast with Ricky Gervais and Sam Harris called Absolutely Mental. Really, really good. Solid podcast, just like very philosophical, like 30-minute, 40-minute episodes, something not too long. Really, really funny, really, really kind of like just makes you think, and I really like that. It is a paid podcast, it's not free, so you have to go to their website and pay for it, and then it can bounce to Spotify or whatever you use for your podcast. But really, really good. I really recommend it. I love Ricky Gervais. Huge Ricky Gervais fan. So, yeah, really recommend it. But other than that, not a whole lot going on this week. Yeah, I played a little bit of Far Cry 6, probably about 5 hours in. Not feeling it as much as I like 4 and 5. I didn't play Far Cry 1 or 2. I think I started at 3. Maybe 4. I don't remember. But yeah, it's Far Cry. I mean, if you played a Far Cry game, you know what you're getting into. Kind of a checkboxy open world game. Go here, beat the base, do a side quest. Go over here, take down a boss, character, that kind of thing. Take them over the map. Yeah, I don't know. It's Far Cry. If you like Far Cry, you're probably going to enjoy the game. I find it a little weird. I feel like there's less RPG elements in this game. It's more just of an action game, which is kind of a letdown. Not really like a skill tree or anything. You basically just change your clothing to give you like stat boosts in certain aspects. It's all right. I'm not like super stoked on it. I wish I was more into it than I am, but I've been playing a bunch of Diablo 2 as well. Hopping in that with a couple friends, and yeah, it's Diablo 2. I've already talked about it. It's Diablo 2. It's fun to play with friends. It's a fun RPG. If you play Diablo 2, you've played Diablo 2 remastered. It the same game. It looks a little better. It plays about the same. So, other than that, yeah, this week I'm going to talk all video games. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I was going to do it with a friend, and just decided to do it on my own and get it out of the way. So these are my top 10 games. I did do some honorable mentions, and I mean, my top 10 games could change depending on my mood. There's games I left out of here that I would definitely like recommend and everything like that, but I could do a top 35 video games or whatever, and it would go on for 2 hours. So I narrowed it down to 10. I put some honorable mentions in, and yeah, hopefully you find something maybe in here that you haven't played and will catch your interest. And yeah, so without further ado, my honorable mentions, the game Resogun. It was launched on PS4 in 2013. It was a launch game for the PS4, developed by Housemarque, and it's basically like an arcade shooter, kind of side to side, pans like in a circular orb basically, and you're taking down a bunch of like enemies basically as a score chase type game. Really, really addictive, hard arcade game. I played it constantly. I got the platinum in it on PS4. I was obsessed with it like the entire launch period of the PS4. So if you haven't played any Housemarque games, they're all kind of arcadey shooters outside of their newest game. But highly recommend Resogun. Hey, what's up, Matt? How's it going, buddy? Hope you're enjoying your vacation, man. I miss you. It's weird doing this without you. I don't like it. Let's see what's happening. Look at him.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's frozen. There he is. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
I miss you.
My my internet's not that good here, so. Oh shit! The dogs are barking. Hang on.
No, your internet's terrible.
I'm gonna go up and hope I get better.
You're freezing like every 30 seconds.
I know. Sorry. I wish it was better, but it's not.
It freezes on your face, and I get to just stare into your eyes. How's vacation, bud?
Vacation's good.
Yeah.
It's been it's been very chill.
Having a nice Thanksgiving with your mom?
I did. It was really good.
Good.
There was a good little crowd of us actually for Thanksgiving, so it was fun.
That's awesome, man. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, what are you chatting about tonight?
Just video games.
Video games, eh? Hey, did you see 007 yet?
I did. I seen it tonight.
How'd you like it?
It was good. I talked about it a little bit. It's not my favorite James Bond movie, but it's a fun action film. It's too long. It's way too long.
Yeah, everyone that I went with, like my mom and Kate's parents, and everyone said the exact same thing.
It's like almost 3 hours. It's just too long. Yeah.
I actually, I'm not a James Bond fan at all, so
yeah,
but I actually thought it was pretty good.
It's a fun action film, but I think the middle could have been cut down dramatically.
Totally. It seemed like there was a lot of fluff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where they go from here with it. I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it, but obviously this is Daniel Craig's last movie as Bond. A lot of rumors of where they want to head with it, but I don't know. I found it intriguing. I hope that they the end of the movie, they kind of carry on in some way.
Yeah.
Instead of
maybe next week we can have a quick spoiler chat about it, because again, me not being a Bond fan, there's definitely things that I think were cool about it as somebody who wasn't a Bond fan.
You should definitely watch all the Daniel Craig Bond movies.
I've seen 2 other ones. I haven't seen all of them. I'm pretty sure I saw Spectre, and I'm pretty sure I saw, what was the one before it?
Skyfall. Casino Royale, I think, is the best one.
Is it? Yeah.
I love Casino
Royale. That was his first one, right? Yeah.
That was basically a reboot on the series almost. So,
right.
You could dive in there. I think Quantum of Solace is by far the worst one because it was done during the writer's strike. So there's basically no script to it.
Just all action.
Yeah, it's not good, but yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I mean, it like I said during the beginning part of the pod, it was weird being in theater with no restrictions. I had people sitting directly beside me.
That's interesting. Oh, they're still distancing us, but
not here.
That's weird.
The vaccine passport, so everybody in the theater has to be vaccinated. So they just lifted.
Yeah. We have that too. You have to have your vaccine to be in it, but they're still putting a person between each party.
I wish. I liked it better.
Me too. It's great. Somewhere to put your coat.
Well, that, and I don't want people around me anyway. I wish I was in the theater by myself.
Me too. Fuck them all.
Yeah. Go stay away.
Stay the fuck away.
Go home.
Well, I can't really. What's that?
You said you're too good for your home?
Yeah. You're too good for your home?
Exactly.
Well, I can't really stay because we just got home from dinner and we're gonna play a game, I think. But
no, it's all good, buddy.
I just saw you were starting, and I was like, oh, I should just quickly jump on, and hopefully I can drag some people over here to stick around and watch. I didn't get a chance to share your post this afternoon because I was too busy playing Answer Questions.
I don't mind at all. I want you to enjoy your vacation as much as humanly possible, but I appreciate you.
Guess what I get to do next week?
I can't wait to be back. What's that?
I get my Sentinel next week.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that, man.
I'm gonna do a live opening. I think probably if I have it Monday, but it might be Tuesday. But
nice, man. I'll definitely try to jump on that if it's not too late and I'm at work. But even if it is, I'll try to jump in just to check it out. But yeah,
I'll post it there that way.
I ordered that new Batmobile Lego.
Oh, you did?
Here until middle of November, so it's gonna be a while.
I'm telling you, man. There's definitely interest in doing live builds. I've seen them, so
yeah, I wouldn't mind doing it. I think it'd be weird to do,
I'll send you a link. I'll send you some links of some that I've seen that are actually pretty good. So then you can get some kind of ideas, and when you do it, you can kind of come prepared, kind of thing. So
I think it'd be weird to do just because, like, I feel like people would be judging me on my stupidity of like, oh, I can't figure this out. I'm an idiot. You know?
I don't think so. I don't
know.
So. It's good because you could do it, and then you could do discussion about Batman. You like Batman, so that works good. You could do discussion about Batman, and you'd be good.
I want to like spend a fortune on Lego, and I know that's really dumb because like, what am I gonna do with all this Lego? But like every time I see like a set that's like, hey, this has 20,000 pieces, I'm like, oh man, that'd be nice.
All I'm gonna say is that Lego retains its value. So if you buy any, make sure you keep the boxes.
Yeah.
Even if you have to flatten them to store them.
Sure.
Because they do retain their value.
Figurita custom. Yeah, no. I have boxes. I still have my PS3 and Xbox 360 boxes. Like I have a knack for keeping boxes. I don't know why, but
it does make the resale better on some things. So.
Yeah, but I don't sell anything. I have everything. I have VHS tapes still. You know? I have CDs from 2000.
That's too funny.
I probably have an MC Hammer tape somewhere, you know?
Oh, yeah. Do you have hammer pants to go with those?
Yeah, that's my Halloween costume.
Perfect. All right, man. Well, listen, I gotta bounce, but have a good show. And look at Sonny's here. Sonny
Texans, baby, woo! They're dog shit, but I love them. All right, buddy. Have a good night. Say hi to the fam for me.
I will for sure. Have a good show. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay, peace.
See ya. That was Matthew. He'll be back next week to do the podcast with me, but yeah, huge Texans fan. So they're really bad though. And last week we almost beat the Patriots, and I was very happy, and then we lost, and I was very sad. And it's funny about football is because I look forward to football every Sunday. I'm so stoked. I'm like, oh yeah, Sunday football, woo! And then I spend 2 days in absolute misery because my team sucks. And then by Thursday or Friday, I'm like, oh yeah, football again. But I guess that's the life of the football fan, you know? There's like 6 good teams, and then the rest are just fucking terrible. But yeah, I'm excited for Sunday. We might actually get a win. We could beat the Colts, possibly. So we'll see. Very emotional roller coaster, yeah, 100%. It was absolutely brutal. I thought we were going to win that game. I made a pizza bet with my friend, and she's a big Patriots fan, and I lost, which was disappointing. So I owe her a pizza. But yeah, I mean, I could talk about football all day. I mean, the loss of Watson was a huge bummer, and Davis Mills, I don't know where he is as a quarterback, really. So at least we're not the Jags. I mean, we can beat the Jags, but like, should we have beaten the Jags? I don't know. They're a mess. The Lions are a mess. The Jets are a mess. The Giants are going to lose every game for the rest of the season, probably. There's a lot of teams that are bad. I hope we finish last and we get a good draft pick and we can start, rebuilding the team. But our ownership is dog shit, and yeah, it worries me. I don't like the direction we're headed, to be honest. Yeah, I agree with you. Davis Mills has no leadership skills. I don't know if he's actually an NFL quarterback, to be honest with you. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, back to video games. I started with Resogun as my honorable mention. My second, for people that are just joining me, talking top 10 video games is tonight. No Matt, obviously. He joined us for 10 minutes, but he'll be back next week. We'll talk about a bunch of comic book stuff. But my second honorable mention is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Came out in 2003 for GameCube. I'm a huge Zelda fan. I'm actually more of a 2D Zelda fan than a 3D Zelda fan. But I think The Wind Waker is my favorite Zelda game that's ever come out. Probably outside of Link to the Past, maybe. I don't know. It'd be close. But I picked Wind Waker because I feel like it was underrated at its time. It's cell shaded. The GameCube didn't sell very well. And I think a lot of people missed out on Wind Waker just because of the graphic style, and it was on GameCube. But I think it's one of the best Zelda games. I don't know if it holds up as well, just because there's a lot of very early, early 2000s 3D gaming in there where the graphics hold up, but like the sailing mechanics and stuff like that, I think are going to feel pretty boring at this point. But if you have a way to play Wind Waker, I think it re-released on Wii or Wii U. I don't know if it's available on Switch or not, but it's a really, really good Zelda game. I think it's way better than the last Zelda game there, Breath of the Wild. I hated Breath of the Wild. I think it's the worst Zelda game. So, yeah. Anyway, third honorable mention, most played console ever. Oh, fuck. Honestly, probably the PS3. I started gaming when I was 3, so that would be like 1988. I had an Atari, I had the NES, I had the Genesis, went to PS1 from there, Xbox 360, no, GameCube, Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, PS5. I have all the consoles now, obviously. I spent a shit ton of time on PS3. I think PS3 is my favorite console probably ever made. There's the probably best game catalog available for that console, and I know a lot of people are going to say PS2. PS2 is my least favorite Sony console. A lot of the games I just never really got attached to. I was on GameCube at that point. I think there's a lot more better GameCube games than there is for PS2, but yeah, I would say PS3. Honestly, I so many great RPGs on that console that I played for over 100 hours each. And as you're going to see in my top 10, there's like at least 5 games, 6 games that came out during that era. I didn't have a Vectrex, no. I'm not positive what a Vectrex is, no. I started at Atari 2600, I believe. That was my first console. I played a little bit of arcade stuff. Oh, Beautiful Joe was awesome. Yeah, there was a lot of great games for GameCube. I think GameCube is one of the most underrated consoles ever made. The controller was awesome. It fit perfectly in my hands. Awesome games for that console. Like really, really underrated catalog of games, even though a lot of them were first party and that kind of hurt it. But yeah, really, really great console. Anyway, so my third honorable mention is going to be South Park Stick of Truth, RPG by Obsidian that came out in 2014. Probably the funniest game I've ever played, honestly. If you're a South Park fan of the show, you're gonna love this RPG. Like it's fucking hilarious. There was a sequel to the game called Fractured Butthole. Moose Migos. I like it, Matt. I like it. Have a good night, buddy. Yeah, I recommend everybody to play South Park Stick of Truth. It's only like maybe a 20-hour RPG, but it's super, super funny, especially if you know the show very well. So many inside jokes and references from the show. Just really, really well done. Yeah, I think you can pick it up on anything post PS3. I believe it was available on PS4, therefore it's available on PS5. I think it was free if you bought Fractured Butthole. So I don't know if that's still possible, but if you buy that, it came free with that. So yeah, love that game. My other honorable mention is Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. Came out in 2017 from Machine Games. Really good shooter. I love the Wolfenstein, the last 2 Wolfenstein games, like the modern remakes. Really, really awesome shooters, really hard games. They're stupidly hard as far as getting trophies and stuff like that. But just really cool stories. I really enjoy them. And my final honorable mention is Pac-Man. I love Pac-Man. Huge Miss Pac-Man fan from the arcades. The Championship Edition they released on PS3, and then they're, I think, PS4. It's a really, really awesome game. But any type of like Pac-Man game, I'm obsessed with. I love Pac-Man. I didn't put it in my top 10 just for the fact that like not everybody's into that style of games. I figured I want to recommend 10 games that kind of have more appeal across the board. So, yeah, if you haven't played Championship Edition or the original like Pac-Man in arcades, it's a must play for any gamer. So number 10, I picked Dead Space, the original Dead Space. Came out in 2008 from EA Redwood, which became Visceral Games. Horror game, terrifying, very survival horror-esque. Had 2 sequels. I think the sequels are not as good as the original, but absolutely love Dead Space. It's scary. It has the best elements of like classic survival horror, like Resident Evil or Silent Hill. Ammo management, upgrades, all that kind of stuff. Jump scares. You never feel safe. You never feel like you're too powerful to get through any section. You're always scared and you're always on the run kind of thing. And I can't wait for the remake. The remake's coming out apparently in the next year or two from EA. And yeah, super stoked for it. I can't wait. Highly recommend Dead Space. The problem is it's not available on modern PS5. But it's available, I think, in backwards compatibility on the Xbox Series X, and I don't know if it's available on PC or not. But yeah, Dead Space, really, really awesome game. Figured this custom Symphony of the Night. No, I actually never played Symphony of the Night. I wasn't ever a huge Castlevania fan. I know that's blasphemy amongst most people. It's considered one of the best games ever made. I just never got around to it. I know it recently, I believe, came out in Castlevania package for PS4 and PS5, and I assume Xbox as well. But just never got into Castlevania really. I think I played one of the original ones on NES back in the day, but I never owned it or anything like that. So I just never was super into Castlevania, even though I love vampires and stuff. So weird, but yeah. Never was a huge Castlevania fan. Number 9. Parasite Eve. Woo. Not on my number 9, but yes, Parasite Eve. I was huge on Parasite Eve. I love that first game. Played it tons of times. Huge Parasite Eve fan. All right, number 9. Rock Band 2. Came out in 2008 from Harmonix. I'm a huge rhythm game fan. Loved Guitar Hero. Loved Rock Band. Really, really, really stellar, addictive games. I miss Rock Band. Like, I wish Rock Band was popular still. I would buy a Rock Band 5. I know Rock Band 4 is still kind of ongoing, but you can't buy instruments. All my instruments are basically dead at this point. I've, played it so much that the buttons are broken on it and everything like that. I don't have a drum set anymore that works. So on and so forth. If they made it like a new Rock Band game and it re-released instruments and everything like that, I would totally jump back in. Like, I'm one of those guys that I don't mind having a bunch of plastic instruments around my house. I love those games. It's probably one of the games, honestly, I played the most in my life. Like, literally hundreds upon hundreds of hours. I'd have friends over. We'd all play. Like, I had my parents over, girlfriends, whatever. Like, I just love Rock Band. I think it's just such a great party game. There's nothing better than listening to music and feeling like you're actually a musician, even though obviously it doesn't necessarily translate between real guitar and, Rock Band guitar. But the feeling of having that ability, always going to be like stoked on. And I love music. I'm obsessed with music. So playing some of my favorite songs, even just listening to those songs, is fun for me. So like kind of playing along with it, it's a perfect match. So yeah, Rock Band 2, super, super one of my favorite games. Number 8, I picked Tetris. Obviously you could go in many different directions with Tetris. The original came out for the regular Nintendo. It was on Game Boy. Tetris Effect is on current consoles. is awesome. If you have not played Tetris Effect and you are like a puzzle game fan, highly, highly recommend Tetris Effect. The music is awesome. The visuals are awesome. It's a very trippy game if you like to have a few drinks or smoke weed or anything like that. Really, really cool game to sit there and like chill out and play. They recently released a pack that made it like multiplayer. I haven't really dove too deep into it, but it's a game you can play online now with against people and I think with people. Tetris for Game Boy was awesome. Tetris for NES, I put tons of hours to. Yeah, there's been so many additions, so many different variations on Tetris, but that's what makes it such a brilliant, brilliant game. Is just Tetris itself is absolutely stellar. So I can't recommend Tetris enough. I love puzzle games. I will play any puzzle game. So yeah, Tetris, which kind of leads me into my next choice, number 7, which is Portal 2, another puzzle game, but very different than Tetris. Came out in 2011 from Valve, and it's a 3D game. It has like platforming elements, but mostly you're trying to solve puzzles via making portals with a gun, which you can shoot 2 different colored portals, which makes you be able to go through and land on the other opposite side. So there's a lot of like physics-based puzzles in which to solve. It's a complicated kind of game to explain, but it's very, very funny as well. And I wish it would re-release in some way. If they really re-released Portal 1 and Portal 2 in like a pack for PS5, I would totally replay those games. Love to trophy hunt for them. And yeah, they should make a sequel. They should make Portal 3. And Valve doesn't like to make games anymore, so it's a bummer because I love Portal. Yeah. So anybody that hasn't checked out Portal 1 or Portal 2, really, really funny games. I think you can get them both on the Xbox consoles as backwards compatible games, but sadly not available on, I don't believe, on PS5 in any way. Yeah, definitely mind puzzles. They're complicated, they're hard. Yeah, they're confusing at times. There's puzzles you get stuck on for hours, and then when you solve them, it makes you feel brilliant because you figured it out finally. But just really smartly created games. Number 6, I picked Fallout 3. I'm a huge RPG fan, Western RPGs, not as much as JRPGs, but released by Bethesda in 2008. I think it's one of the best RPGs ever made. I've played it countless times, probably 3 or 4 times, hundreds of hours into these games. Yeah, Fallout is basically it's hard to explain in a way, but open world RPG, action based. You have guns, or you can have melee weapons. Basically, takes place as if nuclear war happened in the 50s, but it's not the 50s. It's like the far flung future. But all the like technology and stuff is still stuck in the 50s kind of thing, and basically it revolves around you going into underground shelters and finally immersing out of these shelters into the world, and everything's been irradiated by the nuclear war. So there's all these like transformed disease, animals and people, and the world has changed. Obviously the commerce has changed, and it's basically just exploring the world, and you can kind of go in any direction you want and make it your own kind of storyline. There's obviously main missions and everything like that, but it doesn't leash you in any direct way of which way to travel or which way to go. And yeah, the first time I played that game, it just kind of blew my mind. Is finally immersing out of the underground bunker and going into the world is just, yeah, blew my mind. So highly, highly recommend Fallout 3. Obviously, there's also Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4 that came out after it. Fallout 76 is kind of a very different game. I didn't enjoy it, but I would start with Fallout 3. Fallout New Vegas is also really, really solid. I didn't like Fallout 4 as much, but it's more modern kind of game and feel, kind of looks not great graphically, but yeah, really recommend both. See what chat's saying here. Secret of Evermore and Secret of Mana, but to me, Zelda Breath of the Wild changed the business. See, I really didn't like Breath of the Wild. I think it's an extremely, extremely overrated game. It feels very, very dated. Very empty world. It's beautiful looking. I hated the weapon mechanics. I hated the cooking mechanics. I could not dive into it. Like it did not appeal to me. The fact that it got 10s across the board almost is just mind-boggling to me, because I'd rather play Fallout. I'd rather play Skyrim. I'd rather play, The Witcher 3. Almost any of these games are way more modern, feel better, have like way more filled worlds with way more to do. I just, I wasn't a huge Breath of the Wild fan. I never played Secrets of Evermore or Secrets of Mana. I was not a JRPG guy in my early gaming thing. I mean, I'm still really not. I played Final Fantasy VII Remake, but like outside of that, I played a little bit of Persona 5, Persona 4 Golden, but not a huge JRPG guy. So, where am I? Number 5, our original Resident Evil. Huge Resident Evil fan, huge survival horror fan. Obviously, I talked about Dead Space earlier. Resident Evil was one of the first games I ever played on PS1. It blew my mind at the time. Like, I think came out in 96. So in that era, I was about 11. Maybe I was 12 by the time I played it. Really, really terrified me. I love zombies, probably because of the Resident Evil games. It's probably the first version of a zombie I'd ever seen was from those games. It's very dated now, the original, obviously. It came out, in 96, so it graphically is abysmal. They did remake it for GameCube and have re-released that remake for, modern consoles. I think you can get it on PS5 and Series X. It does look a little dated at this point, like, even now. The remake came out in 2002 for GameCube. So, you're looking at 19 years since it's been remade. They almost honestly need to remake it again. But yeah, I love Resident Evil. I think it's one of the scariest games ever made. The sequel, Resident Evil 2, is another one of my favorite games, but I try to keep only one game per series on my top 10 list. The Resident Evil 2 remake is superb. One of the best remakes ever made. The Resident Evil 3 remake, not so much. It wasn't as good. The modern Resident Evil games, 7 and 8, are superb. Resident Evil 8, as of right now, is my favorite game of the year. Can't wait to see the remake of Resident Evil 4. I'm waiting for the new film, Resident Evil. No, me too. I'm excited to see the new film. I watched all the original Resident Evil films. Not great, not really true to Resident Evil, but I still watch them because they're part of the series. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, and if you're into scary survival horror games, this is the OG version of that. This is the GOAT. You can't miss these. Number 4, I picked Super Mario 3 for the NES. It's the only really old game, other than Pac-Man and Tetris, I guess, that I picked. I love Super Mario 3. Super Mario was one of the first things that really, really hooked me on gaming. Before I got a Nintendo, I remember my neighbors. Growing up, I lived in an apartment building, and my neighbors were my next door neighbors. Like, my best friends were my next door neighbors. And they got an NES before me. And I was, like, obsessed with hanging out with them in general, but also hanging out with them anytime they were gaming, just because I wanted to see Super Mario. I wanted to see this game. I wanted to watch them play. I wanted to play it myself. And then I finally got a Nintendo. I played the original Super Mario and, fell in love with it. And then for my birthday, I got Super Mario 3. And I was just hooked on it. It's one of the best side-scrolling games ever made. I like it way more than Super Mario Worlds. A lot of people think Super Mario World's better than it for Super NES. I disagree heavily. I think the level design is better in Super Mario 3. I think the overworld map's cooler. Yeah, I just think it's a funner game to play. I love the detail, the power ups and everything like that. Like it's just a must play for anybody that needs to go to like some old school gaming. If you're younger and listening to this or watching this, it's a must play, and it's probably the best game for the original NES in my opinion. It should be available if you own a Switch and you subscribe to their online, Nintendo Switch Online or whatever the hell it's called. You get the NES and SNES classic games as part of that package, and I believe it's available in that, and it's a must play. If you're a gamer and you have not played the original Mario games, you're missing out heavily. I can't recommend it enough. Number 3, I went with Infamous for PlayStation 3, developed by Sucker Punch in 2009. Absolutely adore Infamous. It's an open world superhero game, original story, not based off of anything. Basically, you have like electricity powers that let you traverse across the world. While you can hover with your electricity, you can basically like grind on electricity wires and like rails throughout the city, shoot electricity bolts through your hands, stuff like that. One of the coolest games, so fun to play. I love the sequel. I love the third one, not as much as the first two, but I also loved the third one, Second Son. I really was disappointed that Sucker Punch changed directions and went to make Ghost of Tsushima. I think it was a letdown for me personally. I know a lot of people love that game. I wanted another Infamous game. And I wish Sony would re-release these games for PS5 because I would totally replay them. Just one of my favorite series ever. I think the storyline is awesome. I don't want to spoil it, but it's choice-based. There's a couple of times where you have to make a decision in the game, which is really cool. There's a morality meter within the game, which you can choose like evil or hero decisions, basically, which changes your ending. The endings are really cool. They kind of also lead into the second game, where you can make decisions that also have, different endings and everything for the game. Just highly, highly love Infamous. It's one of the coolest games ever played. I don't feel like it's talked about enough, and I really wish Sucker Punch would go back to it, or they'd let somebody else make a sequel to it. Just super, super great game. Let's see what the chat's saying here. Metroid for me is the best. Yeah, no, Metroid's awesome. I love Metroid, and I was obsessed with Metroid Prime for GameCube. I really want them to re-release the Metroid Prime trilogy for Switch, and I bought a Switch for Metroid Prime 4, which still isn't out, but was announced before the console even came out. They were like, yeah, we're making Metroid Prime 4, and I was like, yep, buy that console, no problem. And, we're 5 years later and still not out. No release date, no idea where that game is. It's a bummer because I love Metroid. I know they just put out Metroid Dread for Switch, the 2D version of the game. I haven't picked it up yet, but definitely will check that out once I have some downtime, probably in December or January. Number 2, I picked Bioshock from 2K Boston / Australia. Came out in 2007. Bioshock is shooter with RPG elements. Really, really cool original storyline. One of the coolest open world games ever made. Not really open world, I guess, but has variations of open world. You can kind of go in different directions, but it's closed off kind of arenas. But like the world itself is one of the coolest, universes within gaming. Really cool original way of delivering story through like dropped off voice recordings, which is pretty common now in games, but in 2007 it was pretty original. Enemy design and everything like that is super cool. The big daddies are iconic and terrifying. the noises they make, the sounds of the universe, the world building, even the vending machines that have like, these like recordings and, welcome to the circus of values. Like anybody that plays that game is going to be like, oh man, like, it's just iconic. You have weapons like machine guns and everything like that, but you also have, magic basically abilities where you can, shoot. Well, they're called plasmids, but you can shoot like electricity out of your hands or shoot fire and, kind of play the game very different ways throughout that. And, there's 2 sequels. Bioshock 2 is a direct sequel to Bioshock, which wasn't made by the same developer, and writer and everything like that. But, still fun game. Cool twist on the first game. And then the third game was back to the original developer and very, very different than the original, but also has really cool twists and really cool world building stuff. And if you have not played the Bioshock trilogy, like they are mandatory games to play, as any gamer would tell you. Like absolutely cool storyline. I'm thinking I'm buying a Switch OLED for the new Metroid Dread, but I'm still trying to understand why I can't find time to play my PS5. Yeah, no, I own all 3 consoles. Like I own a PS5, I have an Xbox Series X, and I have a Switch. And I play my PS5 almost exclusively. I basically haven't touched my Series X since I bought it. There's just nothing available for the console that's not available on PS5. I'd rather play on PS5. I like trophies. So I'm always going to play anything available on PS5 first. If it's exclusive to Series X, I'll check it out. But as of right now, there's basically nothing exclusive on the console that like I'm excited for, other than I'm going to check out Halo when it comes out. Switch, I think, has a lot of great games, but the fact that I'm not earning trophies on it is also like kind of annoying to me for some reason. Like I feel when I'm playing Switch, I'm kind of taking time away from actually playing stuff on PS5 where I'm, getting trophies and playing games I want to play that look better. There's some great games on Switch, don't get me wrong. I just picked up the new WarioWare game, which is fun. The new Mario Party comes out in, I think, a week or two. I'm a huge, party game fan. Playing that, drunk with friends is always a blast. But overall, I have not played Switch nearly as much as I've played like PS4 or PS5. There's just not enough on it that I'm like blown away by it. I won't buy a Switch OLED. If they make like a Switch 2 or Super Switch or whatever the fuck they want to call it, I'll check it out, definitely. But there's nothing Nintendo's put out in the last few years where I've been blown away by, to be honest. Honestly, for the Switch, like my favorite game probably for the console is Mario Odyssey. And even that, like I wasn't like, blown away by. A lot of remakes, a lot of stuff like that, which is fine for people that missed out on Wii and Wii U. I own both consoles, so I a lot of these things just don't really, move the needle for me. My number one game, is Last of Us Part 2. I'm a huge Last of Us fan. And this game is kind of controversial in certain ways. A lot of people weren't a huge fan of it. Me personally, I think there are people that don't like this game is kind of out of their minds. Obviously, if I was including multiple games in a series, Last of Us Part 1 and Last of Us Part 2 would be my top 2. I think it's the best 2 games ever made. I think the storyline is absolutely superbly written. Its voice acting is insane. The graphics in these games is incredible. They're just absolutely stunning games. Obviously, Naughty Dog is, known for originally Crash Bandicoot, but also the Uncharted series. And I just adore Naughty Dog. I'll play every Naughty Dog game that they put out. I love the Uncharted series, and I didn't put them in my top 10, but those are also games that, should be checked out. But Last of Us is just, it's the top-notch video game. It's there's nothing that emotionally taxes me as much. Playing Last of Us 2 was mind-bending. It broke me for days. I cried multiple times during that game. When I beat it, I had to like literally go for a walk and kind of like just think about the game and how it affected me. It took me like a week or two to go back into playing something else because I just was like, well, there's no point in playing anything else. Like nothing's ever going to beat that series in that game. I still don't think anything come out close to that quality since Last of Us 2 came out in 2020. And it's just set the bar so high that, I just don't know how it's ever going to be met by anybody, honestly. I think it's top-notch storytelling, top-notch voice acting, top-notch graphics. I can't wait for the HBO show that's based off of the game. I don't think that Naughty Dog necessarily has to do a Last of Us 3 or anything like that, but if they do, obviously I'm going to be stoked for it. It's everything I want out of a video game series done to the best possible ability. Favorite game of your wife. That's awesome. And your wife has good taste because that's super good. It's the master of everything. They're knocking it out of the park every game they release. And since Uncharted 1, I don't think they put out a bad game. Like the Uncharted series is all 4 games are fucking excellent. Uncharted 1's obviously the most dated, but 2, 3, and 4 are just, almost perfect 10 games, and Last of Us 1 and 2 are almost perfect 10 games, at least in my opinion. So, you can't get better than that game. Obviously, it's available on PS4, PS5, and they're just must-plays. Don't play the second one without playing the first one. If you don't know anything about these games, they're basically action games set in a post-apocalyptic world. I don't want to spoil too much of the games, but basically you're given a task of bringing a young girl across the country, and the game basically takes place around that as you trying to survive as you bring this girl in an apocalyptic world. It's absolutely emotionally taxing and superb, and puzzles and shooting and action scenes and scariness and RPG elements, and it's just the writing, everything is just amazing. So it's my favorite game ever made, and I honestly want to replay it again just to get the platinum on it, because you have to play through it twice to get the platinum, but it's just fucking excellent, and I highly recommend it. Now, obviously, there's games I left off the list. Like, I could go into, 10, 15 other games that I want to talk up and I want to, get people on. But these are the games that I chose as, like, if I was to recommend somebody that's never really played games, of, like, the 10 games that you need to check out, modern, not even modern, but more modern games, these are the 10 games I personally recommend. And I hope that there's something on the list that somebody checks out that goes like, oh, wow, I never played this game or never gave this game a chance, and now it's like one of my favorite games. Because that's always my favorite thing, is showing somebody something that they never got into or never seen or never watched or whatever, and then getting them to like see the joy in their eyes of like something they really fall in love with. And that's my favorite experience. So if anybody finds something in this that they never really thought they'd like or never tried and then fall in love with it, please throw me a message, comment on the page or whatever, because I'd love to hear those things. And you can drop your favorite games in the list too, because that's awesome. And thanks, man. I appreciate that. Great list of games. I appreciate that. But yeah, I've been gaming for a long time, and I can't wait to see what's coming in the next couple years, because with COVID and everything like that, a lot of games got delayed. And I think we're in for a couple amazing years of gaming. I think this year is pretty weak overall, but I think next year, even the beginning of next year, is very loaded. And I think between next year and 2023, we're going to get some of the best games we've gotten in a long time.
I think COVID definitely sparked creativity in a lot of people. Is being stuck at home. A lot of these writers, a lot of these, people had downtime to really put out their best work. So, I think we're gonna get a lot of great music, a lot of great movies, and a lot of great games and art in general. I think it's just we're gonna see it spike in the next couple years. As the world kind of returns to normal. But yeah, anyways, that's the end of this episode. It's a kind of a shorter episode. We usually go, an hour and a half. I guess been 55 minutes, but doing it solo, it's kind of hard to go too long here. What do you think about good games on PS5? PS5, honestly, there's not a lot on PS5 that's exclusive to PS5. That's the biggest problem with the console right now. Is there's most games that come out for it is also available on PS4. The exclusives I've played so far, honestly, Ratchet and Clank, the new Ratchet and Clank game I platinumed. It's a lot of fun. Trying to think. There's not a whole lot. Like, the new game by Housemarque, I can't even think of what it's called right now, and even though they're one of my favorite developers, is also really good. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up real quick. Resident Evil 8 is also available on PS4, but I really love Resident Evil 8. I think it's my favorite game of this year. I haven't played Deathloop yet. Trying to think of what else I've been playing. The new Mass Effect trilogy re-release. I know it's older games, but if you've never played Mass Effect, absolutely must play. The trilogy remake is great. Perfect place to jump in. Playing Diablo 2 right now, which also is an older game, but obviously remastered. A lot of fun to play. Just bought Far Cry 6. Looking forward to Halo, obviously not available on PS5, but looking forward to Halo. Next year, Dying Light 2 is coming out in, I think, February or March. Really looking forward to that. Hold on, let me look up this Housemarque game that I'm thinking of. Returnal. Sorry. Returnal is an exclusive PS5 game. Really, really cool. Hard game, but definitely really recommend it if you haven't checked it out. I don't think it's sold a lot, but really a unique kind of story-based game. Difficult shooter. No like score-based game, but really, really cool. Yeah, I want Halo 2. I'm excited for it. I've fallen off of Halo a little bit. I never played 5, honestly. It's a game I want to finish before the new one comes out in December. I was a huge early Halo fan. Like, I loved Halo 1, 2, and 3. Less so than newer games. But, yeah. I never owned an Xbox, original Xbox. I owned a 360 and One series. No, Xbox One. Their naming things are terrible. But, yeah, I'm really excited for the new Halo. I think it looks really cool. It's exclusive that I can't play on PS5, so it's a reason to play my Series X. And I'm excited to jump into it. I'm not an online guy. I'm not a multiplayer guy. Most of my games I all play single player, so I'll play the story. I won't play the online area, but I'm excited to check it out. Yeah, Returnal is really cool. Recommend it if you haven't played it. But yeah, there's not a lot for PS5. Honestly, if you don't own a PS5 yet, and you're, upset that you can't find one, there's nothing on it that's like mind blowing. That's like, oh, this is a fucking must play. You're missing out if you haven't played this. Obviously, like load times and graphically, it's better, but there's nothing on it that's like huge. That's exclusive. Now next year, not exclusive, but we're getting Horizon 2. We're getting the new God of War. If you're into racing games, Gran Turismo is coming out, I think, in March or April. There's some big games coming out that not exclusive to PS5, but exclusive to Sony consoles. So they'll also be out on PS4. But I'm super, super excited for Horizon, and obviously God of War is going to be really, really cool. I loved God of War 2018, so hopefully Ragnarok is really, really well done and hits it out of the park. But other than that, yeah, I think that's going to do it for tonight's episode. And thank you for sticking around and watching and having some good chats tonight. Next week, Matt will be back, so we will obviously get into some more comic booky stuff, and we're going to talk about Bond spoilers next week, and What If, the finale of What If, we haven't really discussed in a spoiler form, so we're going to dive into that, even though it's a few weeks old now, and we'll continue on from there. So, yeah, thank you for checking out and watching it, and well, have a good night. It's Saturday morning here in Barcelona, and the toy hunt is waiting. Oh, nice. Very nice. Good luck with that, man. I appreciate you coming by. Yeah. Cheers. If you haven't followed us on Instagram, you can follow me at Customs. You can follow Matt at Customs by Matthew. You can follow me at Moose Milk Media. We're also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube, so you can check us out there. And our album art is done by at Janie Milne Art on Instagram. So if you like our album art, please give her a follow as well and check out her artwork. And yeah, that's going to do it. I appreciate all of you coming by. I hope everybody's doing well, and we'll see you next week for another episode. Cheers.